The gold-silver ratio. This is a very common idea discussed by precious metal stackers, especially silver stackers. Does the gold-silver ratio have any utility? I don't know. First, what is the gold-silver ratio? It is the spot price of an ounce of gold divided by the spot price of an ounce of silver. I live in the United States, so I watch the ratio in US dollars. Your local currency might vary a bit. A higher number for the ratio indicates that the value of gold is running higher relative to the price of silver. A lower number indicates that the value of gold is running lower relative to the price of silver. At the time I scripted this video, the gold-silver ratio was about 85. Is this high or low? We can look at recent history for reference. A graph of the gold-silver ratio gives some perspective. Here is a chart of the month-end gold-silver ratios from January 2001 to December 2023. Gold has always been many times more valuable than silver, but the ratio has risen and fallen periodically over the past 20-plus years. The average ratio over this period is about 68. Aha! So since the current ratio is around 85, we can say that right now gold is relatively high to silver. Or maybe that silver is low relative to gold. Once we know the current ratio relative to the historical average, we can maybe have a call to action on how to buy precious metals. Let's consider 5 scenarios while keeping in mind that the goal is to use the gold-silver ratio to help us get as much of a precious metal stack as possible. That could be gold, silver, or both. First scenario, the gold-silver ratio is currently around the average. In that case, buy whatever you want at the best price you can find. Second scenario, if the ratio is high, then silver is relatively inexpensive, so we should load up on silver. In the third scenario, the ratio is low. Now gold is relatively inexpensive, so we should buy gold instead. Here comes the action of the ratio. In scenario 4, the ratio is really high. Gold is very expensive. Besides buying silver for new purchases, we should trade our pricey gold for lots of cheap silver. Similarly, in scenario 5, if the ratio is really low, we can buy gold and trade our relatively valuable silver for even more relatively cheap gold. In theory, over time, we leverage the rise and fall of the gold-silver ratio to boost our precious metal stack. Cool. There are some issues, however. First, not everyone agrees on what the gold-silver ratio should be. Just because the average over the past 20 years is 68 doesn't mean that number is even relevant today. I mean, post-COVID, the world is a very different place. Maybe the mean gold-silver ratio is also different today. A big projected demand for silver is solar panels. Solar panels were barely a talking point even 10 years ago. Another issue, central banks are currently scooping up gold like crazy. Either of these ideas could really shift the ratio. I won't even try to factor in the effect of global conflicts or Bitcoin. Second issue, how do you know when the ratio has bottomed or peaked? Those are the best times to switch from one bullion to the other to leverage the ratio. If you can't time the ratio, then you can't benefit as much from it. Third, and this idea will be a little controversial, my sense is that most silver stackers are actually gold stackers in the long haul. The gold-silver ratio has been relatively high for a number of years, so the new stacking community is dominated by people who are stacking relatively cheap silver. If the ratio crashes, then I see many of these stackers trying to convert to gold. If the ratio eventually returns to high levels, even really high levels, would these stackers convert their gold back to silver to play the ratio? I doubt it. The bulk of silver alone makes this switch less attractive. In practice, I suspect the ratio is a one-way street, and that diminishes its importance and utility. While there is no doubt that the gold-silver ratio will fluctuate over time, whether the ratio can be exploited reliably is less clear. Do I use the gold-silver ratio? Not really. I've been stacking maybe 8 or 9 months, and since that time the ratio has been relatively constant in the range of 80 to 85. I mostly stack the lowest premium metal that is in my price range. That could be gold or silver. If the gold-silver ratio should plunge, then I would consider converting silver to gold. Then again, I'm new to stacking, so I don't exactly have a huge amount of silver to convert. Let me know if you follow the gold-silver ratio. How low would the ratio need to be for you to trade silver for gold? Would you ever trade gold for silver? Please like or subscribe and take care.